Hello everyone, welcome to another presentation of OpenLM. This time we will show you a presentation of the OpenLM extensions. I would just like to make a little disclaimer before we begin. I will not be going over the core OpenLM product. I will only be going over the extensions and show you what else can OpenLM do. What else it can do to stretch your licenses to their limits. So these, before I begin, I want to say if you have a question, you want to know more, or maybe you don't understand something, please write it down in the chat. The GoToMeeting tool has a chat box. You can write it down, and by the end of the presentation, I will go over all the questions one by one, and we'll have a short Q&A session. Okay, so these are the OpenLM extensions. We have group usage, project usage, directory synchronization, alerts. You can see all the extensions we have, and we will go over them one by one and give you an idea of what they can give you, how they can help you. So we're going to start from bottom to top. We're going to start with the smallest extensions and work our way up to the more complex extensions. So the first extension is called the group usage extension. Now, what it does, it allows you to group users of the of OpenLM or of the applications themselves. So, for example, you can group users which are using AutoCAD in a certain group, or you can group certain users, certain administrators who use OpenLM. The group usage extension uses the synchronized directory. It's synchronized from Active Directory, or you can do it manually from the OpenLM interface. It will allow you to report license usage by these groups. So, for example, some clients ask, they say, my organization has a few organizational units, and we would like to monitor the license usage for each unit so we can bill them accordingly. So, for example, let's say that you have one unit based in the USA and another unit based in China, and you want to bill them accordingly. You want to separate the bills. So this way you'll be able to bill them by the usage hours, by the license usage per group, and it will be very simple to show. So for example, you can see here the license usage report, and you're able to filter out a certain group. Let's say that I only want to look at this group. I can filter it out and I will only get its usage. So on the left you can see the unfiltered data, all the license usage of all the groups, and on the right only for a certain group that I choose. So this gives you versatility in your report filtering. You're able to do group billing by, for example, using the license activity report, which can give you the usage time for each group. So you can see here, for example, on the left, we have all these groups and the total usage time for the last year, for example. So by that, you can easily know how much you need to charge each group. You can see here on the right who are the users which are in the group. So for example, group USA Marketing, they hold Grace, Sophia, Alexis, and so on. The second extension that we have is the project usage. It's pretty similar to group usage, but it's not user groups, it's projects. Projects usually start off at a certain point and end at another point, and they need a certain amount of licenses to work. After the project is done, the licenses or are not needed anymore or can be transferred somewhere else. So by that, you'll know that you'll be able to get chargeback billing capabilities. You'll be able to see which projects used how many licenses and for how long all along the year. So it will give you a better project accounting as a result. Clients usually ask, our organization purchases floating licenses per project and would like to monitor the license usage for each project so we can bill them accordingly. So as you've seen with the group usage extension, you're also able to do the same for projects. You can see the same example here, the unfiltered data. You can see all the data, and if you filter it by a certain project, then you see only the usage related to that project. You will not see the whole time span. You will just see the project. For here, for example, it started in August and ended in September. You'll also be able to bill by project, just as the group billing. So you can see here the total usage time for each project. This is the license activity report. And with that, you'll be able to simply bill those organizational units by the project they're working on. The next extension that the OpenLM has is the directory synchronization. Now, what does that mean? Most of you have active directories in your organizations. An active directory is a directory which you keep updated, where you put your user base information, anything from the username to phone number to where it works, his location, and so on. So OpenLM allows you to synchronize groups and users or groups of users from your Active Directory. It allows you to group users by different attributes. Let's say that you have in your Active Directory, you have like 1,000 users. It's not really grouped, but all users have an attribute for country, for example, or for department. So you'll be able to group those users automatically just by the department name or by the country name that they have. So you'll be able to keep OpenLM user base up to date as a result. So this is the interface that you get for the directory synchronization. As you can see here, you can do it by user attribute. In here is a department, or you can do it hierarchical, meaning that you have a group within a group within a group. You can also you can also synchronize the groups as a pyramid, you can say. The next extension is the OpenLM License Allocation Manager. Now, it's a big name, but it's really, really helpful because it allows you to create and modify options file in a very structured manner. You use a very intuitive user interface in order to create the option file. Usually option file, in order to create the user groups, to set the feature conditions, to restrict or reserve licenses, you'll need to open up a text editor and start to input the syntax for the option file. Now, let's say that you have 2,000 users, many features, and each one needs a different handling. So this can get very confusing. You need to do it by hand. You can get typos, mistakes. You can maybe use a syntax of an option file of one version for FlexLM of one version, and it doesn't work for another, and so on. So the OpenLM License Allocation Manager gives you a UI where you can just pick and choose which users you want, which groups, which features, all the criteria that you want. You can just choose easily. Just click and select from a list, and once you deploy, it gathers all the changes you made and just edits a text file on the license server itself to be the new option file. So you'll be able to create option files without writing anything. You can just use the UI. So usually clients say that they find it very time consuming to produce an option file for one of their license servers, because it's strictly text-based and it's very prone to errors. So OpenLM gives you this interface. As you can see on the right here, first you can see the syntax of the option file. You see that it's very confusing. Max2 85811. It's very confusing, and there's a lot of room for mistakes, typos, and it's pretty much a time-consuming effort, and you need to keep it maintained all the time. So you probably need someone at least part-time doing only that. So what the OpenLM Allocation Manager allows is for you to, well, let's take a look at it. We can see that I chose a feature. On the bottom, I see the users that I chosen. Some I reserved licenses, some are included, some are excluded, some are included from borrowing. You can see that I set the linger time to be 45, the borrow hours to be 34. Can do this for the different servers. Now, as you see, it's very simple. It's just point and click, and once you hit deploy, then it will create the option file. So the option file preview that you can see on the right here is actually the output of the license allocation managers. It's all the things that I chose here. So for example, this is the feature. You can see it here. Sophia gets max 2. If we look down, we can see that Sophia has max 2, and everything is created, is poured into the option file itself. And of course, deployed onto the server, OpenLM 2 license server. The next extension is a very useful one that we have. Most of our clients use it, and if they don't use it, usually they find something useful to do with it. So what is it? It's the OpenLM notification extension. You will get notifications when certain criteria that you define are met. So you can set, for example, a criteria for if my license is about to expire, then notify me 30 days prior. So I'll have the time to get ready and buy more licenses or get a budget or whatever. If my license, a certain license is a 90% capacity, means that I have an issue, and if I have a project coming in using the same license that I want, then I wanted to know about it. I can also send the related user the email, the notification. So for example, let's say that I have a user using over 12 hours, And let's say that I want him to know about this. So the OpenLM system can automatically send him an email saying, hey, you're working on the application for more than 12 hours. Note to close the application before you go home, or you can do pretty much whatever you'd like with it, but it's the notification system that can also notify you and also notify groups of users that you choose, or the related user who is, for example, has session duration over 12 hours, for example, or is using a mismatched version, and so on. As you see here, I have all of the conditions and all of the actions here displayed on screen. Now the conditions are what will trigger the alert, the notification to be sent out. So for example, I have here license server is not responding. You can set this alert to notify you once one of your servers is down, one of your license managers is down. You can, in this case, once it's not responding, you can tell the OpenLM system, run a broker command and start the license manager. So if you look at the bottom, you can see run a broker command, start. This gives you a great management level, automatic management for the OpenLM system and your licensing. For example, we have here user percentage over 90%. We talked about that. Expiration days under 14 if you want to get notified when license is about to expire. If a usage period is too long, if the maximum number of denials is above, let's say, 1,000 in a period of 1 minute, then you know that you'll have a problem. You need to check it out. So these conditions give you all sorts of criteria that you can work by, and it also gives you different actions. So you'll be able to send the notification as an email. You can send an SMS, just show an alert, or you can even run a broker command on the license manager. So you can, for example, as I said, start the license server when it's not responding, or stop the license server when you have too many denials, or whatever you choose. The resulting message, this is the email you see on the right here. The resulting message shows you all the conditions, what was triggered, and so on. Next, we have an extension which makes OpenLM enterprise ready. Now, what does that mean? In an organization, there are different stakeholders for using OpenLM. Some are management, some are system admins, some are just end user engineers, and different users, different organizational units or users have need to see different things, different parts of OpenLM. So for example, you want to have like an admin user, admin account, and you can log in and see everything. But let's say that you want another admin account, but only for servers from the USA. So you can have a role created only to show licensed servers in the USA. Or you can have, for example, one for system admins, which has everything, and one for end users, which only has the current license status. They don't need to see the reports. They're not making big decisions about budgeting, so they can see only the current state of the licenses. You can set a role for finance or management, so they be able to see reports, only reports. If you don't want them to see anything else, you don't want them to configure things in the OpenLM system, you can set that. So as you can see here, On the top, you can see the roles, the detailed role, the role details for example, AutoCAD sysadmin role. System admin for AutoCAD. So, for example, I've allowed him to add a resource to a role, but denied him from deleting a resource from a role, and so on. Permission to open OpenLM server configuration tool is allowed, so you can deny and allow whatever you'd like in the OpenLM system. It's not just the OpenLM interface, it's the whole system. So this this list is very long. I just gave you a small taste of it. And as you can see on the bottom, the users of AutoCAD sysadmin role are Elizabeth, Archie, Abby, Cooper. You can add either certain users or groups of users to be in the role. And you can have as many roles as you'd like. It makes usage of OpenLM very versatile. And now we will start going over the more complicated extensions of OpenLM. So, for example, we have the OpenLM actual usage, which allows you to monitor the applications and get the idle time when a license is pulled and an application is open on an end user machine, meaning that you'll be able to know when the user is actually using the application and when the user is, I don't know, working on something else, just on Facebook. Maybe he had a meeting for the half of the day, maybe he went home, and you see like idle time of like 4 hours, and in this case you'll be able to know. You'll get a full report about it. You'll also be able to identify users who regularly keep a hold of licenses. You see them doing it every day, so you can go and talk to them, tell them, hey, I see that you're keeping the license and just not actually using it. This way, you'll be able to get much more license utilization if you know what's going on. But this just shows you the idle time, what is actually being used and how much. But if you would like to actually do something about it, or the OpenLM system to do something about it for you, then you'll be able to use the next extension. First, I want to show you the actual usage, how it actually looks like. And then I'm going to jump to the Active Agent extension. So here on the right, you can see the recent app idle time. You see that I have some users with 12 hours of idle time, some 5 hours. So you know that something is wrong. Maybe it's a holiday, maybe you need to talk to them, but it gives you an indication. Also on the left, you can see the periods of activity and when it was idle. You can also get it as a table. So let's say that you found out that Dean has 12 hours of idle time, but he went home. You don't have access to his workstation, you can't log him out, you don't want to just stop the PC, you don't want to just shut down the PC because maybe he has some work saved. So the OpenLM Active Agent can either automatically, upon hitting a certain idle threshold, it can automatically save the progress and close the application, or it can also suspend the application itself. It just releases the license and suspends the application. So the Active Agent, besides doing the automatic closing or suspending of licenses, it also allows you to manually close the licenses. So, for example, if you look here, on the top here, you see that I have a recent app idle time of 1 minute and workstation even less. I have a button here, close app. If I click the button, it will close the application on the other side. It will automatically close it on the workstation itself. It will release the license first and close the application after saving it, just saving it. On the bottom here, you can see all the released license events. So you see all the events where licenses were released, what was released. This way you can see, for example, who has had his licenses released a lot. So if he has his licenses released automatically a lot, then means that is probably idling for long, or maybe just pulling application at the start of the day and not actually using it. So you'll be able to know who is misusing the application and the licenses. This is just an example to show you how it looks like. So you see a screen here and you see AutoCAD. I have something working in there. And let's say that I left it idle and the system caught on to it that the application is idle. Then it just closes my application. You can see here that the application is totally closed, the icon is gone, and you get a message. You get a message saying that OpenLM agent has recently closed AutoCAD. Now you will able to click the button and you will resume your session. The AutoCAD or application will open automatically and you'll be able to resume your work. Now, if you want to if you want to go a step further, let's say that it's not enough. You get idle times, you suspend their licenses, but you want more. You want more criteria. You want more conditions. So the OpenLM App Manager allows you to get that enhanced functionality that you're looking for. It allows you to set different conditions for all types of licenses. So let's say that I want to set a condition for users to be able to pull a license only after 8 a.m. If they try to pull before 8 a.m., then they won't be able to. The OpenLM App Manager allows you to track not only floating licenses, but also node locked licenses, named licenses, even licenses which even applications which are not using a license or use different types of licenses which cannot be monitored by a license manager. So you'll be able to monitor and get reports on all types of licenses, all types of applications that run a process on the workstation. So most of our clients regarding the App Manager say that I would like to restrict a certain group of users from using the application after 8 p.m. or from using an old version of the application, or for only getting from a certain vendor, and so on. So the interface that you see before you, let's look at the top part. You see that I have two applications set up, one Autodesk and one pzip. Pzip is just to show you that it's not only for floating licenses or for a serious application. It can be anything from Notepad to Autodesk to Excel to Visual Studio, MATLAB, whatever you like. Here you see that I'm able to set the limit. I set a limit of 1 to Autodesk, 5 to pzip, and on the bottom I see that I can set different conditions. So for example, if we look at the bottom one, I see that I set a rule called USA after 10. So only if we look at the conditions, what is ticked, what is checked, only if the time is after 10 in the morning and groups, the group is USA group, only then allow. So if I try to pull a license and I don't meet the criteria, I get this message. I try to open AutoCAD and I get this message saying that access denied due to this rule. Also, if I try to pull a license which is more than the license limit that I've set here, for example 5, if I try to pull the 6th instance of pzip, it will tell me that the license limit has reached and I will not be able to open the application in the first place. Now, this can be done for the group name, for the version, which vendor, which application, what time, and so on. So I have some users using it to enable certain licenses to be used at certain times of the day only by certain locations. So they set that the same license server will give licenses to USA at a certain hour of the day, to Germany at a different hour, and to China near the end of the day or something. So this gives them a way to further utilize their licenses, to increase the utilization. So you won't have anyone breaking the criteria that you define. The next extension is the OpenLM external DB support. Now, this just means that the OpenLM system supports external databases, MySQL, SQL Server. This is the OpenLM Core comes with a Firebird database, but in order to get better performance and support higher traffic loads, you will need to move to a MySQL or SQL Server, and then you'll be able to get reports faster, even though that you have now a large database with a lot of network traffic on it. So connecting to an external database is very simple. Just the OpenLM database configuration. You have your databases here. You see SQL Server, MySQL, Firebird, Oracle. Just choose and connect to it. But in order to have your data moved to the external database, you will need to migrate your database using the OpenLM support team. Now, the final extension is the OpenLM Reporting Hub. The Reporting Hub is a reporting database with an intuitive data structure. It allows you to implement a business intelligence tool for querying your data however you like. You can build custom reports as a result. So let's say that you want to access the OpenLM database using scripts. Let's say that you want to do that. You want to get your data using scripts and put them inside an Excel and just calculate the data, group it, aggregate it, do whatever you want with it. If you try and do that, first of all, you're going to find out that most of the information you're looking for, like session duration, license usage, idle time, most of what you're looking for is not calculated and not present in the OpenLM database. The Reporting Hub has an ETL engine which gets data from the OpenLM database and puts it into a reporting database which has a dimension measure data structure. It's a very easy, simple, intuitive data structure which allows you to get all the reports that you need. It has the usage, the session duration, the denials amount, true denials, license usage, everything that you would like is there, and you can use any BI tool on it. So you can use Power BI, what we give. You can use Tableau, you can use Click, any BI tool that you want, you can use on the reporting hub. A second reason why you'll find it hard to custom query your database, your OpenLM database, is that with every version that we publish, there are changes to the OpenLM database. Small changes, major changes. Point is that you'll never know which changes are coming, and you update your OpenLM server and suddenly your script is not working. So the OpenLM Reporting Hub assures you that you will get the same data structure from the Reporting Hub. Doesn't matter which version you have. So the most common question about this is my managers are asking for reports that we don't have. How can I create custom reports from the OpenLM database? So the OpenLM Reporting Hub gives you exactly this, a way to just drag and drop columns, create different reports, calculate measures, aggregate them however you'd like, filter them with any filter that you'd like. The possibilities are pretty much up to you. And this is one of our sample reports. It shows you license utilization. So you can see the license utilization by month here per license server. Also by year, I see here the usage duration for workstation. Now it has drill downs. You can drill down as the license server feature by day, by user, by group, whatever you'd like. And as you can see, this report has calculated measures which you cannot really get from the OpenLM Core report. You can only create it here. So this gives you much flexibility when designing and reporting when designing your report. And because management always wants different reports, and finance wants different reports, and each time they think of something else and want that, so you'll be able to give them an answer very quickly. You'll just drag and drop the columns that you want, and that's it. And you send them the report, and it's easy peasy, how you say. And that's it pretty much for the OpenLM extensions. Now I will go over all the questions I have here and try to answer them one by one. After I'm done answering them, I welcome you to open your microphone and just ask anything that you'd like. We can have a short Q&A session if you want. So I have a question here. Does the user information get saved in the database, or is it link or pointer? It does get saved in the database. Is there an option to get an alert when user has more than one license? Yes, you're able to alert yourself or alert the user itself that he's using more than one license. He has a duplicate license usage. Do these extensions require a certain version of OpenLM server to run properly? What version of OpenLM would be required for all these extensions to work? Any versions under 3.2 are currently unsupported, and I would recommend to use the latest version of the OpenLM server, broker, all the extensions. It's better to use the most up-to-date one, but most of them can also work with versions 3.2 and up. Okay, and now I encourage you to open up your microphones or write down in the chat anything that you like. Ask anything if you didn't understand anything. If you want to know something, feel free. This is your time. This is the Q&A section of this demonstration.